Welcome to the Soul Tribe Podcast. The Soul Tribe Podcast was created to help you navigate through the world of spirituality, wellness, and self-development in an easy, grounded, and relatable way. We break down everything from the AKASHIC Records, manifesting, spirituality, and so much more. We want to help expand your boundaries and bring the spiritual world to you in a fun and easy way. Get ready to be inspired with tips, tools, and easy to digest information. Let's do this.
Hey guys, today's episode is going to be all about your soul path and self-doubt. And this for us is kind of like an accompanying episode with the intuition episode that we did a very long time ago. And so there's a lot of stuff to add to that, and doubting yourself and the path that your soul came here to live sometimes can collide. So we're going to talk all about that and our opinions, our experiences, and just go from there. Lorena, did you ever get any self-doubt?
All the time. That's like my middle name, self-doubt. Lorena, self-doubt.
I agree. And I think that you're like a very mental person, right?
Very. And I think that's also like always been my struggle of connecting what feels right to what I think is right. And I could never, like, even someone would ask me, I remember this is something I struggled with my whole life, like, what are you feeling and what are you thinking? I couldn't decipher one from the other. Like, now I can do that a lot more, but I remember just even like 2 years ago, it's like, what are you thinking and what are you feeling? I'm like, they're the same thing, I think. I don't know. Like, it was just really hard for me to pinpoint. You know, I would never follow my intuition really unless it was something I was already thinking about or was already going through my brain. But I never had that urge to really connect to my intuition until a few years ago, really, when I had that urge to, take care of myself and love myself and start listening to myself. When I started like kind of understanding what a feeling and an intuition was and what me thinking about something felt like and how that felt in my body, because it was a completely different reaction I would get, right?
Just that sounds weird to me that you're saying that what you were thinking and what you're feeling were the same thing.
It's like, not that they were the same thing. It's that I couldn't tell which one was which.
Oh, okay. I didn't get that. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't think that's ever happened to me.
Oh my God. That was
I
like
clearly know what I think and I totally know what I feel like. And they usually don't match. But I know which one's which.
Yeah. For me, that was like constant struggle. It was really weird. But I think in a lot of ways it was there to show me like that I wasn't connected with myself, because if I was connected with myself, I would have been able to decipher those and know the difference and feel that in your body. Because I think when an intuitive hit, like when something intuitively comes to you or a feeling comes to you, your body reacts in a specific way. And when you're thinking about something, it's completely different. Your body is like, you're usually more stressed, you're more in your head. Your body kind of constricts a little bit more. It feels so different. Like I can say that now, but I didn't know that at the time.
I think I've very rarely in my life, very few occasions in my life, I've had the issue where I didn't know what I wanted or what was best. Which is why when I find myself in the situation where I don't know what I want to do or what's best, you'll see me freak out a little bit.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah.
Because that rarely happens to me. I
never know what to do.
Certain. Oh my God, I'm almost always certain exactly what I need to do. Even though to like anybody outside, it's like, you're going to do what? I'm like, yes, I'm going to do it. How? I have no idea, but I'm going to do it anyways. And I always end up doing it anyways. And that reminds me of Erin. Erin once said it. She's like, she gets done what she has to do. Nobody knows how she's going to do it. Like it's like you guys already figured out that I'm going to do it somehow. You just, not even myself knows how I'm going to, either you guys, right?
Yeah. You're very much a Sagittarius in that sense, I think, though. Feeling things and wanting excitement, adventure, and doing all these things. We were actually in class, we were talking about Sagittarius and like all the kind of emotional and personality traits. And I was like, that's Lucia. that's Lucia. It's so you, but that's also the way you live. That's your essence, I think.
And also my numerology is 5, which is I love adventure and I love change. So it goes with my sign. I don't know how common that is, like numbers matching with signs as much, but I know that that's my number 5 also.
It's interesting. But yeah, I guess this is like a good way for you guys to see how different we are. And not to say that I don't listen to myself now or I'm able to...
You're such a Taurus.
I am such a Taurus. I don't like change. I like to just kind of stay still and like do my thing and be steady and certain about whatever I'm going to go. And I'll overthink things too much, like, to a point where it's like, I might have already known the answer 6 months before, but it's like I had to really like ask it 10 times or like see and investigate and look into things and make sure that I'm making the right decision, because it feels like it's like change is crazy sometimes. Where other times in my life, and I think about like even things we've done together, it's like, I don't know, I've just kind of gone and done it. I'm like, oh, I want to move to London, I'm going to do it. Or I don't know, I want to move to the Cayman Islands, I'm going to look for a job and I got it and I'm here. Like, I don't know. That's also part of manifesting, I think, too, of like really wanting something and making it really work and feeling so in my worth about it. Like, I just going to do this. I know it's going to happen eventually. It might take time, but it's going to happen. And that's where I realized that self-doubt really just like plays against you so much, right?
And like, to me, you are someone where like you think about something, you really feel like you need something, and then your mind's like, well, I can't do it, not yet, maybe later on, and you need to like organize and plan it. You have to make a list about it.
Yeah, list.
What this and this and that and this, and you even like check it off, like you want to see it checked off, like you're like very overly mentally organized with all that stuff, right? And I've noticed with you, which in the family now you're known for this, it's Lorena's not going to make the decision. The universe is going to make her make that decision because she's never going to end up making it.
Sometimes not, yeah. But you know what? Another thing is I am the only earth sign in our whole entire family. All of you, mom, dad, and yourself. You guys are all fire signs. You guys are all crazy.
Says you, Earth.
We're just different. I'm like the slow and steady one, right? And I'm like the one that wants to make sure they make the right decision, which, I'm not saying is the right way, but I'm just saying that's kind of how my essence is, I guess. And I have to break free of that a lot of times and try to follow my intuition and follow what I'm feeling and know that if something feels right, then I need to trust it. But I guess this episode, we're just trying to show you guys, I guess, a little bit of how we both are and how we live. But, we just want to get into this episode and talk about why, self-doubt, like how self-doubt really affects our soul path and what we're here to do, and how it can really play against us and not allow us to become or be the people that we've come here to be, right?
Yeah. And so like sometimes like you're the example of that. It's for me, usually I have an urge and my mind's going to try to say it's not a good idea, but I'm like, yeah, but if I feel it, I know it is. And then that's it. Like that thought that might lead me against it will somehow be overridden by if this strongly and it's coming from inside, then it has to be true and it has to be right. And that's an urge. And that urge is then, for me at least, it's aligning with my intuition. I'm listening to my true path, my true self. Intuition is basically your soul's way of saying, go this way, you should be doing that. And so in my case, it's I'm not saying it's like easy, but it's self-explanatory for me. Like, if I feel this, then this is what I'm supposed to do. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I have no idea. But the universe is somehow going to allow me to get there and do that. Whereas you are the total contrary, where you're like, no, but I need to plan it and we need to organize it. I need to blah, 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 right? And so you're actually coming a little bit off your path for whatever amount of time it takes you to finally get there. And like we just said before, sometimes it's literally the universe going, no, go already. And it like forces you to do it, right? So the whole point is it's really important to listen to our urges, because our urges are intuition, and our intuition is our soul speaking to us saying, stay on the path, stay on the plan. And we have to remember that the mental aspects of ourselves that might be talking us away from doing that thing or those things, that's our human side. And our human side sometimes is just coming from a place of fear. It could be the ego, right? Or it could be a program that your parents taught you, or a program you picked up when you were young. You don't believe that you can do that. That's not something I can do. And your parents taught you that. So there's like a lot of mental aspects that are blocking us from listening to our intuition and our urges, you know?
Yeah, no. And for me, fear was like, I think what always held me back from anything, just fear of what will people think, or, you know, how will I be perceived, or, you know, what will this mean if I do this? Just like exterior validation was such a huge thing for me always. Not so much now. I think I've gotten a little bit better with that because I kind of accept myself more, and really, if something feels right for me, like doing the Akashic Records, and I mention it to someone, for example, that thinks I'm crazy, I don't care. Like, I really don't care. Like, you can think whatever you want. But I think one of those ways of self-doubt, you know, going down that route is, you know, listening to what other people have to say, or what they think you should do, where, you know, people can have very different lives. They could be here for a different reason, and they can have a different view of what life should look like. And if you listen to other people, that's going to affect you, and it's going to allow you to doubt yourself. So you won't be able to follow that intuitive side of yourself of like, this feels like the right move for me. Like, I have to do this. And I know it, I feel it in my body, yet everyone around me is telling me it's wrong, or that they have their own opinion about it. And then that's making me doubt myself. That was my story, like, all the time. Like, you know, I wanted to switch from studying international relations to graphic design. And I was 2 weeks in, and I had enough time to change, and I just did it. I didn't tell dad or mom. And then all of a sudden I went back and I was like, guys, I switched. I felt completely out of place. I don't know why I picked this. I think I picked it because I was using my head and not my heart, because I loved art. I always did. And they were kind of like, okay, they kind of accepted it. But that was one of those times where I was like, if I tell anybody, they're going to convince me otherwise. And then I won't be able to make the decision. And I'm going to lose a whole year of my life when I just started studying this. I just need to make the decision, do it, and just go ahead with it.
Yeah. That must have been...
That was hard.
I'm sorry, but I'm thinking about a totally different example of something, and I don't know if I should talk about it. Because, like, so this is my train of thought. I'm going to try to get you there, okay? And this is a little off topic, but at the same time, it's still a little bit on topic. Well, first of all, I'm thinking, when you do something, like, so you're the one in the family that's considered the rational one, right? You're thinking through things, you're making decisions, most of the time making decisions, and you're listening to the people's opinions, and you're totally listening to your brain tell you what it thinks.
I used to ask people, like, before I even thought about, like, now I don't even ask people for their opinion. I used to ask everybody, like, what do you think I should do? What's right? What's wrong?
Oh my God, there's a perfect backflower for that, by the way, but you don't need it anymore. But so that reminds me of, like, the term black sheep, and because I'm comparing myself to you, and I'm thinking, I'm considered the black sheep of the family. If you were to put a term to it, I'm the black sheep of the family. I'm the one that, if you were to ask mom and dad to describe me when we were in that, you know, younger, they were like, she's crazy. She's going to do whatever she wants. She doesn't really care. You know, we don't know where she's going to end up, you know, kind of thing, right? And so you're labeled the black sheep. And then that goes back to what you were saying, which is, don't listen to what other people think that you should be doing with your life. Because their soul contract could be totally different than your contract. Your contract might say, be adventurous, be open to change, be open to do this and this and that. You might have signed up for that as a soul. And now if you stop and you let your brain listen to your parents or your sibling or your friends or your, you know, teachers who consider you, as long as you're not obviously putting yourself in this great danger where, you know, something might happen to you physically.
Exactly, yeah.
Yes, that's the extreme. It's different. But if it's not that, then maybe that's what you signed up for. Maybe you're supposed to do that. And maybe by stopping and listening to those individuals, maybe you're setting yourself up to fail as a mission, as a soul, and the mission as a soul, right?
Totally.
And so the label that's put for that is black sheep. And so that reminds me a lot of that time when I was kind of lost in life a little bit. And it was one of those few times in life where I was like, I'm not sure exactly what I want to do, which rarely happens to me. So I was kind of going through a bit of a chaotic time. And you were doing photography. I wonder if you see where I'm going with this. And you were doing photography. You were very into it, and every opportunity you had to do photography, you took every opportunity to take any different picture, right? And so we had a set of friends in Uruguay who were going to go get some.
It was the what do you call them? The railroad tracks, like the wood on the railroad tracks.
But I think that people that are not from South America. Oh, is it sleepers?
I think maybe, or something. I don't know.
The ones in South America are like old. There's no trains in Uruguay. Well,
but there's none functioning really right now.
Yeah, it's considered protected territory at this point.
So the government owns it. Like the government owns it. I didn't know this at the time. But these friends, I'll tell the story. So these friends were like, "Oh, we're gonna go get some of these, pieces of wood from the railroad tracks." I was like, "Cool, I'll come along. I'll take some photos." But I felt like going. I was like, "I need to go."
And you asked me if I wanted to go, and I said, "What time? 7 a.m? Nah, I'm gonna be in bed. Forget it."
It wasn't 7 a.m. It was like 10.
Yeah, but we were going out and drinking the night before with those same friends. And so they were going to go get up to do that, and you were going to go with them. And I was like, no, I'm just going to keep sleeping.
So they pick me up, we go, and I'm just there taking photos. I'm like, okay, cool, I'm going to take some photos. I got some good photos, too. But lo and behold...
Oh, my God, do you still have those photos? We should put those up on Instagram when this episode comes out.
I have some still. They're somewhere. I don't know where, but yeah. And lo and behold, first of all, they're taking their sweet time because it's hard to get those things out. Like they're not easy. So then I start grabbing the shovel and I start trying to get them out too. So I'm like, put the camera to the side. And then all of a sudden people get there because obviously it was near some houses. And then the police come and I was like, oh my God, I've never gotten in trouble for anything ever in my life, ever. And the police picked us up on their car and I'm like, oh my God. And they take us to the station. And I wasn't really arrested. I was put in some room where these guys were coming in and talking to me. And then I was like texting my mom and dad and like my sister saying like, we're in San Carlos. We're in the police station. You have to come. And then that contact their parents as well and then all of a sudden everybody shows up at the police station. It was like this big deal.
And
they took our testimonies.
Fault, somehow it's always my fault because dad comes into the room, my room, wakes me up. I'm still sleeping. Wakes me up and says, "Get up. Your friend's got your sister in jail." And I said, "What? No." And he's like, I'm like, "Lorena's in jail?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I smile. And she's like, "What are you smiling?" I'm like, "Didn't you always think that I would be the first one you'd have to get out of jail, huh?"
I wasn't arrested or anything, but I was like held there for a few hours. And like mom and dad's bringing us food and they're like taking our testimonies. And I had all the fucking evidence. Sorry, I just cursed. I had all of the evidence in the camera. Like I was trying to hide. No, they didn't take anything. I had my phone on me the whole time. They didn't actually arrest us. They were just trying to scare us because we never ended up getting anything out anyway. And those friends ended up purchasing one from somebody else anyway, like weeks later or months later.
And they probably purchased it from someone who managed to get one without getting caught.
That would have just been easier. Why don't we just do that? They just wanted to go on an adventure.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I followed my gut with that, I guess. And in a sense of like, I felt like doing something adventurous, but I knew deep down it was probably a bad idea, but I was bored of like just always being good, like I just want to do something cool.
And my intuition said, stay home sleeping. I knew that I wasn't going to go.
But yeah, I think a lot of times, like in that case, I guess I asked mom and dad too. And I remember mom and dad saying, "Are you crazy? Don't go. Like that's illegal. You know that you can get arrested." I was like, okay, whatever. And I still went. So it can go both ways. You know what I mean?
As the black sheep of the family, it felt good to get a call that you were in jail.
Thanks.
And that it wasn't me.
I wasn't in jail. I was just held there. I don't know. It was cold.
Lorraine,
I remember mom
you
and
guys,
dad,
you should have seen poor Lorena.
I was
crying so much.
I was crying.
And our friends were just coming on to the ladies that were working there instead of like even being upset. They were so bad.
They were chill, but they were actually put in a cell with some like murderer.
Was it?
Yeah, they were put in a cell. I was like, what is going on?
They were laughing about it the whole time.
They
were together too.
They don't care. They knew that they were going to be fine. But I was like, shoot, I can't travel anymore. I can't get a passport. I'm like, oh no.
Oh my God, I never even thought about that.
That was my only worry.
Well, I don't know if every country does that, but yeah, Uruguay, if you have any criminal charges, you can't get
I don't know
passport.
what kind of criminal charges, but yeah, you can get.
Yeah, I don't know.
It'll be hard.
I know, I never thought about that. Yeah. So guys,
that was kind of
that's
ridiculous.
the time where Lucia properly listened to her intuition and didn't go. And Lorena listened to her adventurous side.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you were supposed to go through that.
I think so.
To feel outside your box. Who knows why you were called to do that?
I did. Afterwards, I felt different. I felt like, wow, like I did something.
This is how Lucia feels.
Kind of cool. Like, I don't know, like, and then like the stories, and then we all went to the beach and had mate and then like talked about it. It was just like, yeah, it was early now that you've mentioned that, because I remember we went in the afternoon to drink mate on the beach.
Lorena, when you were already at this police station, I was still sleeping. Dad woke me up and Dad made me go because he's like, your friend's got your sister in jail. Get up. We're going to get her. I'm like, what? Really?
Oh, God.
Yes.
Okay. Let's change the subject now.
A little tangent there. Yeah. So, okay. So let's talk about doubt, because this episode's about listening to your urges, listening to your intuition. But what happens when doubt sets in? It's not only going to take you off track from your soul path. It's also going to create this doubt. Everything's vibration, right? And doubt is a low vibration. It's a vibration that's going to not only set you off track, but it's a vibration that's going to bring you down. And all this stuff that you've been working towards, enhancing your connection or enhancing your spirituality or just trying to learn to listen to yourself more, all of a sudden you've doubted yourself because either your brain told you it was a bad idea or convinced you that you can't somehow do it, that it's not doable for you. Or maybe somebody from outside from your family came to you and told you, you want to do what? No, forget it. That's impossible. That you can't do that because of this, and that. And then all of a sudden that sets doubt in you. So it's really important that, and this reminds me of something Mom used to give us advice about ever since we were little. She said, whatever you want to do, even if it's an idea, if it's a business project, if you want to move, whatever it is you want to do, don't say anything to anyone till everything's already in line.
Yeah, in movement, like started or whatever.
She says energetically, people's belief of that being able to happen or being possible, even if you don't directly hear it, Mom always said that spiritually, that's their thought of it is already going to energetically get you off track somehow. Yeah,
and then people have you're giving people way to have an opinion, you know? Because I found that, especially when you haven't started something, when you're already doing it, it's fine. It's like us with the podcast. We didn't really tell a lot of people when we were going to start it. We just told some close people that we trusted, like Mom, Dad, and like our partners and stuff. Yeah. But it was just like, when we did it, we did it. We launched with 5 episodes. We started doing it. And it wasn't that we doubted ourselves. It was more like, you know, it felt right for us. And we didn't want anybody to like lower our vibration with it because we were so excited. And we knew that we had something interesting to talk about. But, you know, if we had told a bunch of people, then maybe they're going to be like, oh, it's too hard. Oh, it's going to be so difficult. Do you even have enough time? Like, what are you even going to talk about? Like, that's probably going to last like 2 episodes. And then people can like say, they might not mean it, but energetically that'll pull your vibration down. And you don't want that, you know? I think if there's people you trust and that can definitely like be there for you, you know, you might need some support with things and projects and things you're doing in your life or decisions you make. But I think in general, if you can keep it to yourself for a while until you've actually done that thing, it's probably even better for you, because then you're not tinted by people's opinions, by how you should do things or the way you should do things. And you're just doing it your way. You're following your intuition and what feels right for you.
Sometimes it's also nice, though, when you talk about something you're going to do and you tell it to the right person.
The right person, exactly.
And that person like totally ups the game for you. Oh my God, yes, and you'll totally be able to do this and that. And oh my God, you're really great at that. It's almost like they boost your self-esteem. So that reminds me of the advice a friend of mine always gave me. And she always said, you can't tell everybody everything. You need to know what you can tell people. So there's certain people in life, like when I'm with this person, I talked about these things. When I'm with that person, I talk about those things. And so she always said, you can't tell, and there's no one in your life you can tell everything to. Know what you can tell people. And that's probably basically, I think that's a really good piece of advice that I carried with me. And that came at a time right before I was feeling very spiritually alone. So like after she said that to me, I thought, I'm trying to speak spiritual lingo to someone who doesn't believe in it. Of course, it's going to make me feel awful when I talk to them about it. And I was like, yeah.
We interrupt this podcast episode to bring you some really exciting news. The Soul Tribe Academy has launched an online Akashic Records Level 1 course. This course will teach you to become your own Akashic Records reader, to become a channel so you can receive information, to heal, and to follow your own intuition. We put so much time and effort into this course, and we created these for you guys to help you, our soul tribe, connect to yourselves. And we know each and every one of you have that power to connect to your masters, your guides, your beings of light, and even to your soul. This is something we all have the power to do, and we believe that so strongly that we create these courses for you guys. And this course was also created online because we were finding that a lot of our Zoom courses had a conflict with people's time, days, and they weren't able to join us on our courses, which are a lot more hands-on and a lot more time-consuming. And this course that we created now is on our website, so we'll link that on the show notes. You can check it out there. But you can learn on your own time and at your own pace, and you'll own this course forever. So you're able to watch the videos however many times you want, whenever you want. And also we have a full manual, which we've channeled through our masters, guides, and beings of light. And we've made the course that we wish we had when we were learning. And we didn't have this possibility of learning online. So this is great that you guys have access to this now, and how kind of everything's been pushed online now, and it's amazing. So Lucy and I really hope that if any of you feel called to learn to read your own Akashic Records, that you consider this course. Like I said, I'll have the information on the show notes. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to email us or DM us on our Soul Tribe Podcast Instagram, or you can email us at soultribeacademy@gmail.com. And we hope to see you in the course. And also remember that when you sign up for this course or our Zoom course, you have access to our private Soul Tribe Academy Facebook group, which includes all of the students that have had courses with us, that have learned the Akashic Records, and that are on the same path that you will be. So it's a really supportive group, and it's a way for us to also be able to help you. So if you have any questions after you've done the course, you can reach us that way, and it's super easy, and we're able to give feedback, and even other students can give you feedback. So it's amazing, and we're really excited, and we hope you guys join us there. Thank you. Back to the episode, guys. But even I just remember the last course, the Akashic Records Level 1 we did, one question that came up was like, how can I, because you're learning to read your own Akashic Records, it's like, how can I do this? And when there's so many people in my life maybe that don't really understand it, or they're not spiritually inclined, or they don't believe in all the spiritual stuff. And I think that's something that we both kind of felt at some point. It's like, I would hide. I'd open up my own Akashic Records at certain jobs, in the bathroom, but I felt like, why can't I just do it in here in the office when, who cares? Like, I was by myself in the office, but I felt like I didn't want anybody to hear me saying the verse, or like, then I'd have to like explain what I'm doing. But now I'm just like, I'll say I'm an Akashic Records reader.
That reminds me when I first started and I had to do like the 30 days of practicing. So those 30 days, you're not having any alcohol. You have to open them every day. And I had already finished my practice of the day, and I was meeting up with a bunch of friends, and we were staying overnight at this beach cabin thing, right? And so everybody was drinking, and they were all like, "What do you want? Like a wine?" I'm like, "No, I'm fine." But I wasn't drinking because I had to practice the next day, so I couldn't have wine in my system. And they're like, "Come on, just have one wine. Like, it's okay." No. And I never told them. Even though they were like my best friends since I was like 15. Like, I never told anybody why I wasn't having wine. And now I'm remembering that. I'm like, I wonder why I felt so uncomfortable and they're very open people.
Very open, yeah.
But for some reason, I just felt like I couldn't tell them. And I didn't end up telling them that night. I told them maybe like months later.
Yeah. But that, I mean, those are parts, that's part of maybe our struggle here as well, of like accepting ourselves through that.
It's like a taboo sometimes, right?
Yeah. Because I think that might be something some people here that listen to the podcast might feel. It's like, when I don't say what I do or how spiritual I feel or talk about spiritual things, I feel like I'm doubting myself or like I'm not being true to myself. And that is true. I think a lot of times you have to feel open enough to talk to about it. But like you said, you need to find the right people to talk to things about, because that's going to help you feel more secure in yourself. And you're going to have someone to listen to you and have feedback for you and ask you questions. And you can be open and talk about whatever you feel. Like you and I, Lou, we do that. Like we talk to each other about anything and we're very open and we try to see things, we see things a lot eye to eye, but I think a lot of times like you might be interested in some topics I'm not necessarily open to at the moment, but then I can open up to them later. But we feel completely open to talk about it, even with mom and dad. And today I can tell you, I don't care what people think, but I'm not here to convince anybody of anything. I think that's where you need to understand, like when you talk to somebody about something, like what are you trying to do with that? Are you trying to convince them of something? Are you trying them to give you feedback because you need them to say, like, I don't know, like support you in some way? Like that's why you need to find the right people. So you can build yourself up and build your self-confidence, especially if you're starting with like a new spiritual practice or, I don't know, like doing something different or a project. Like you want someone to support you, but also tell you the truth. You don't want someone to lie to your face and be like, yeah, you're great for this, but maybe you could be great doing something else. But that's their opinion.
It's funny. That like reminds me of how we all need to put things in boxes. And we talked about this in the last episode that we did together. Like you're a mom, you're a sibling, you're like, everything needs to be explained and put in a box and you need to categorize things, right? And there's a taboo behind being spiritual awakened. Like, people are considered woo-woo and they're like, oh yeah, that, and they, I don't know, like when people first hear about, for example, they hear about Sandra's partner being an Akashic Records reader, I maybe never mentioned it to them, and then when they finally found out, they're like, Lucia? She doesn't look like an Akashic Record. Like, do you know what Akashic? No, they don't know what it is, but they know it's woo-woo. So, like, she doesn't, like, what do you expect? Well, they expected somebody with, like, long blonde hair, like, hanging beads, and, like, hippie hanging pants or something, and, like, a tie-dye shirt. Like, they expected that hippie girl, like, the typical traditional hippie woo-woo person that they would imagine in their mind, and I didn't fit that. I didn't fit that profile, so they couldn't see past that. The face that I was didn't match the backstory that they were getting. And there's taboo about everything. If you want to do something that is not aligned with the person's box, you don't fit in that person's box, you shouldn't be doing that. That's not right? But
that's also with ourselves. Yeah. Like we think, oh, well, if I want to accomplish this thing or I want to do this thing, like even becoming an Akashic Records reader, like my whole life, like since the moment I'd done level 1 of reading my own records, I was like, well, I'm not, I should be way more healed than this. I should love myself a lot more. And all of this stuff should be aligned. So I convinced myself I wasn't ready, like that I couldn't channel. And I put it aside for so many years because I had that self-doubt because of these preconceived notions of what my life should look like and what I should be doing or not doing in order to be worthy of connecting to the Akashic
That's all
records.
Doubt then. At the end of the day, that's all doubt.
Self-doubt, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and that's a low vibrational feeling. And all that's going to get, that's all going to get you is a lower vibration, what's not going to allow you to connect even more to your intuition, to your higher self, and in this case, to be an Akashic readers and receive messages, right? So guys, be really aware of like that self-doubt and know what you can talk to certain people. Like I can talk to this person about banking. I can talk to this person about shopping. I can talk to this person about being a mom. I can talk to this person about being, a painter, and this person about being a reader. Like know who you can talk to what about.
But also feeling your worth and like confident to say what you do. without having to explain yourself. You know what I mean? Because I think that also, it's like sometimes we think like other people might not understand us, but they might understand us more. Like I was surprised with so many people when I started talking about spiritual things. They're like, wow, I love that. Like totally blew my mind. I'm like, oh, you're interested in this? Oh, cool. I was just literally saying what I did and what my passion was. And then they're open to that idea. So it's not about you hiding parts of you. It's just opening up and seeing how far you can go with somebody
It also
for you to
depends where you
protect
are.
yourself.
But yeah, but I don't know. But I'm not saying that you're not talking about it with a certain person and that means that you're not validating yourself. It just means that you don't have to hear you suspect that person might have a negative opinion of that. Just don't set yourself up to hear it. Maybe you're not prepared to. I don't know. In my case, most of the individuals that I can talk to in the area where I live now about it, I'll hear usually the same thing. Oh, I don't believe in that, but I respect it. And that's all you'll really get, right? Which they're not disrespecting it, but they're already telling you that don't continue to talk to me about it because I don't believe it. You kind of get cut off. So you just kind of know, all right, this kind of
you
area,
feel it out. Follow your intuition.
Yeah. But anyways, so let's talk about good things. And that's signs. Oh my God, I love universe signs. It could be like numbers, and I have a really good example in my head of this actually. And this has to do with something that I felt like I really needed to do for myself, which was at the time I was dating someone that didn't live in the same country. I was living in Uruguay and I was going to meet up with him. And everyone was telling me that I shouldn't be doing it, that I shouldn't go, that it's a really bad idea, blah, 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 whatever. Of course, being the Lucia that I am, I went. Against everybody's, So I went. And he had issues with his flight, so he didn't make it. And I remember walking down the street, and I was alone for 2 days in Portugal. And I remember walking down the street thinking, oh my God, everyone was right. What am I doing here? Like I'm walking down the streets of Portugal alone, which by the way was beautiful. And I enjoyed every moment, but it did make me doubt myself. And I was like, am I on the wrong path? Should I have not listened to myself? And I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, I wish the universe would just like give me a sign just to confirm that I'm not in the wrong place. And at the time I was studying to be a pilot, and my name is Lucia. And I remember I was eating something and walking and going, oh, the street is so beautiful. And I look up and I see this huge sign, literally after I finished thinking that, it says Lucia Pilot. And it was a hairdresser, though. And it was Lucia Piloto, Lucia Pilot. And I was like, no way. And I started laughing. And I said, thank you, universe. I love you. You're just confirming that I listened to myself and what I did was right at the end of the day. Yeah, I remember that. There were signs that whole trip for me.
Yeah. We have to ask for them too sometimes. If you don't, you know what I mean? Like, show me a sign. Ask your guides, your masters, beings of light, angels, whatever, to give you a sign. Like, I'm starting to doubt myself. I need you to give me a sign. I think that's important for you to like recognize that you want to see a sign, a physical like representation of that thing that you're doing that feels right. Because there was a reason you made that decision to go there. You felt it was right for you. Yet things didn't work out the way that you expected them to. But signs are a great way.
Maybe I could have taken that sign and be like, oh, they want me to get my hair cut.
That too. But I think signs are a great way for you to like assist you in seeing things the way that you feel them. Because I think we can many times feel like we're on the right path or feel like there might be something, a little stumble on our path, but we know we're on the right path. And it's like, I just need a sign that this is right. And I think that's where the AKASHIC records also come in so nicely sometimes when people go into a reading and they're like, I'm going to ask this question. And then, they give them the answer and it's like, and they say, I knew that.
Yeah.
I knew that.
You hear that
that's
all
your intuition.
the time.
Yeah. That's like repeated all the time. It's like people already know the answer. They're just not allowing it to come through. So I think a good way for you to do that you're on your own is feel whatever you need to feel, follow that path without that self-doubt, without people telling you what you need to do. And then if you're at any moment, have a little twinge of like, I'm not sure, but it's your ego and it's your head, just show me a sign. I need a sign right now.
Yeah. I don't usually get signs. So for me, that was like a rare occasion. Signs aren't a thing. Like, I think some of us are better at calling in certain things into our life. I'm really good at going, I need to do this. I want to do this. I'm going to do it. And I might have $2 in my pocket, but somehow I know that I'm going to somehow end up traveling to this one place and stay in a hotel and eat nice and what. I don't know. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. That's an example, but it happens. It ends up happening somehow. So that's what I'm good at. I think we're all good at giving importance to things in our life, right? And some of us need extra assurance, and we're really good at calling in those signs to give ourselves extra assurance, right?
And that's like realigning with your intuition and
yeah,
like getting back your faith of like, I knew this was right for me, but some things are happening now that don't make me feel, they make me feel a little bit uneasy maybe. And that's like, okay, I'm ready to push this self-doubt aside. I need a sign. I need to believe in myself again. Or it's just having the faith. I think for you, Lou, a lot of you manifesting things and making things happen is you have full faith that it's going to work out. You have no doubt. You trust.
You always hear
completely.
me say the word, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I say that a lot.
That's faith. You have full faith and you believe and you go straight forward and you don't go with fear. You don't let your ego get in the way. It could still be hard, but you believe, you fully believe. And I think that's one of the things that with the self-doubt, like when self-doubt hits, the faith goes right out the window. And it's like, how can it's gone. And
there could be no faith with doubt, right?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Like,
I'm not talking about like faith in a religion. I'm talking about faith in yourself.
Faith in yourself and that things are going to work out and the universe is going to kind of guide you and allow you to get to where you need to get or do what you need to do.
It always made me feel a little like upset to think about how some people feel like they need to pray to someone to find faith, like give me strength or help me find the faith, or I don't know, like I don't really know, I can't pinpoint what I'm talking about, like faith wise exactly, but it's like there's people that need to pray to something specific to feel like they need, because they need that assistance and that help. And I wish, like in my mind, I wish that everybody could like just have faith in themselves as the number one most important being, your soul. You should be praying to your soul. I pray to my soul a lot, actually. You should be praying to your soul. You should be praying to your higher self. That's you. That's the person that most cares about you. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I think for people that might work, and I'm not saying, I'm not bashing religion or anything like that, but I think that's true what you're saying in so many ways. It's like, if you can't have faith in yourself and in what you're here to do, then like, how can something external give that to you? Yet at the same time, I think, well, we connect to the AKASHIC records, but I'm not like, looking up to the masters and guides. It's like, you're just receiving messages from them, but we could receive those messages on our own with our intuition. It makes it more seamless. It makes it more understandable, and it helps people connect to themselves. Ultimately, when you get a reading, for example, you leave that reading just feeling connected to yourself because your souls come through, your masters have come through, your guides, but those are all part of you. They're not separate from you. It's one. So it's not like I'm seeing it as something outside of you. It's part of you. It's who you are. They make you who you are. So I think, maybe searching for faith and searching for answers outside of yourself, you're giving up the power. You're giving up your own power of being able to do things on your own and being able to sustain yourself and have faith in yourself.
It's really hard. It's really hard because we're talking about something that we all grew up, most of us grew up with a religious belief system that you have to pray to something that's higher than yourself. But why were we never taught to speak directly to our soul? How come none of those religions go, by the way, you have a soul and your soul actually can communicate with you. So, hey, let's sit down before you study philosophy and physics. Let's teach you about speaking to your soul because your soul's the most important person here, huh? Like, sometimes I wonder, like, why isn't that part of education today?
I think it's control. It's easier to put the control outside of you and not inside of yourself. It's just easier. When we all feel that we're in control of or connecting to ourselves, in that sense, like you're connecting to yourself, so you're in control of your life. You have free will. You can live the life you need to live here, learning the lessons you need to learn. You don't need anything. And that somehow people lose control with that. Like external factors lose control. So it's easier for someone or anyone to say, if you believe in this, or if you believe or you do these things, then you're on the right path and you're going to be okay. And someone external from you is going to take care of you.
Yeah.
I
mean,
there's a greater plan.
I always thought about like how I would bring up Aurora and teach her all about her soul and that she can talk to her soul. And I don't know, I've always thought that when it was time, I would kind of teach her about her being her biggest own teacher, right? And that she can communicate and get all the information she needs. Like you said, it's intuition at the end of the day, right? And if she wants to ask for something, connect with your soul and see if your soul thinks it's something that you guys can accomplish together. I don't know, like why are kids learning to do certain things before they're learning to, because that's self-confidence at the end of the day.
It is. I believe so. Because when you're doubting yourself, you don't have confidence in yourself.
Yeah. If from the age of a child, if you're being taught that you can be intuitive, you can receive information, you can connect with your higher self, and all these amazing tools that can be given to you from a young age, so you can actually have the rest of your life to evolve them. And you're your master, you're your teacher. It doesn't mean you know everything. Those are two different words, because I think people use the word master and think the all knowing everything, right? You're your own master in the sense that you can help yourself teach. Your soul is wise and she can help guide you towards wherever she needs to go. But at the same time, that will allow you to have less doubt and actually follow your soul path. And you're not going to need to go to a psychic to tell you, because you're going to already know how to connect with yourself. And I'm not saying don't go to a psychic. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying how nice it is to feel like you can do it for yourself and find out for yourself and not have to go out externally to someone else to confirm something for you, right?
Like, yeah, and I still get readings all the time.
Yeah, me too.
It's not, but I don't rely on that fully all of the time.
Yeah.
Like, I'll get a few readings a year, and I just follow my intuition with that. It's like, I know it's time. I feel like I need a reading with this person, or I feel like this feels right, and I need to connect. And it's more like also connecting with specific people. It's like you feel that. But knowing that when you're not doing that, that you're still connecting to yourself and getting the answers you need because you're not doubting yourself.
Yeah.
But I think putting religion and all of that aside, because I think we went a little bit into that, and it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you do seek external, if you pray to God, if you pray to whatever, that's okay too. But as long as you have that aspect of yourself that you're connecting to yourself and you have that intuition, like those two hand in hand could work for you. It depends who you are, but make sure you don't lose that side of yourself of like knowing that you also have so much wisdom inside of yourself that if you just leave that self-doubt behind, that you're going to be able to connect. Right.
And again, I'm not saying don't go to get readings. Hey, I'm an AKASHIC reader. Like, I want to read people. Yeah. So I'm not saying don't go. What I'm saying is, I'm talking about like a place of like self-empowering.
Yeah.
Why can't we self-empower ourselves and our children? Like, why don't we teach that? That's what I'm talking about. Like, and so if we were from a place of self-empowerment, doesn't mean you never have to go externally, but it means that you don't have to get the answers. You can if you want, just to confirm and just feel better, to feel more connected. Like you said, hearing someone else repeat something you already know is just like a tangible, almost or a more verbal way to confirm something you just confirming you are properly connected. This person just repeated what I already knew. Okay, great. I'm super connected. Right?
Yeah, it goes way further than that with the Akashic Records and with other, I think, healing like modalities. I mean, I've had readings where people don't know what's going on. They know they feel really crappy and they know something's going on and they're not putting two and two together, and a reading can give you that insight. So then you can feel more connected to yourself. So it's not just about intuition with like a reading. It's a lot more than that. It's healing, which sometimes we can't do on our own. And that healing that we need to do might be holding us back with self-doubt. Because we're not clear, we're not healed, we're not open. So when we can get a reading, or we can, have faith in a specific religion or whatever that is for us, that can help us heal. It can help us see ourselves for who we are, and then leave that self-doubt behind and connect with ourselves so we can make the decisions we need to make and live the life we need to live, right?
Yeah. It's funny, I was watching an interview, and at one point they talked about something that I was like, wow, I never thought about it that way. And they said something like, they're talking about food in this case, because I'm thinking about how like part of getting rid of self-doubt is listening to yourself, but part of listening to yourself is being connected to earth and being connected to your surroundings. So having a balanced and stable lifestyle, that's going to help you be connected with, because to be connected with yourself, you need to be connected with your environment, right? And so for me lately, in the times we're in, where we're like kind of all sort of stuck inside, not really so much here now, but most of us are semi-stuck inside. My way of kind of connecting with my environment is starting to learn to grow my own food and feeling like I can do it myself if I really needed to, but more like because I want the interaction with the vegetables and the fruits and the plants, and I want interaction with earth and stuff like that. And they were talking about in the interview how food goes through this really long process of passing many hands, and sometimes those hands that pass through that food that finally gets to your table, they don't mean to put their energy into it, but sometimes they might have having a really bad day, or they're having a really bad vibe that day, and their energy goes into the food, and then you consume that. So like there's so many different ways for us to consume doubt and negative energies that can even come through our food. They weren't specifically talking about doubt, but since we are feeling that you can sustain yourself in some sort of way and feeling that you're capable of doing, if I had to do this and I could do it for myself, then that's fine. I'm capable of doing that. But also being attentive to those little details in your life. What am I putting on the table? What am I consuming? And maybe like give it a little bit. If you do Reiki, send it a little bit of Reiki, like the food or the water before you drink it, just to help you kind of align more vibrationally, because sometimes the self-doubt is just you're off balance. Your energy's off balance, right?
Yeah. Sometimes it is about being off balance, I think. And I feel like a lot of my life was probably that, just feeling like not enough heart-centered and too much in my head. You know, it's like I can't decipher what I feel and what I think. That's being off balance, right? But I think also, you know, what, like you're saying, like the food that we drink, the habits that we have in our life, like how are those sustaining us to help us feel better about ourselves and being able to be a clear channel? Because it's also not just about like receiving messages. It's like we're a channel. We're all a channel. So we all need to make sure we're living as healthy as possible, like moving our body, moving ourselves, not having stagnant energy, being able to eat healthy, maybe more plant-based in a lot of ways. Depending on, you know, what kind of diet you have, maybe plant-based doesn't work, but eating more plants, I think, is always good for anybody. And not living this life of stress and doing things we hate all the time, and not feeling forced to live this life that we have.
Going to a job you hate all the time, that is so energy-wise, it's so bad for you.
It's
and
depleting.
Mentally, of course, also. Yeah. But goodness, if that's going to set you off track in your soul path, definitely. Definitely.
And there's things we understand, like, you know, maybe you can't leave that job right now, or maybe you can't make that change right now, but change what you can. Like, that's your free will right there of like, okay, I'm going to start eating more plant-based, or I'm going to start getting more sleep. I'm going to start drinking more water. Like, I'm going to start going for a walk every day. Like, all these little things will help ground you and balance you out so that you can in turn look inward and push away that self-doubt and receive messages and be a clear channel. There's a lot more to this, obviously, and we can do a whole episode on being a channel. But I think, you know, since we're talking about intuition and self-doubt and their soul path, that's all connected. And the way we live is going to directly affect that.
We're so lucky that your soul wanted to come here to live a human experience, and you were Earth gave you a body. We did an episode about this. Like, your body's not yours, right? Earth gave you this body, goes, go ahead, here's your portal. Here's your portal to live that experience. And we're like, hey, this reminds me of you Twinkies. Let's shove some Twinkies in there. Because we did
or just sugar, right? Like, I mean, we've talked about that with Christos and Foster, how sugar's so bad for you as a channel.
And Christos and Foster mostly talked about radiation in the food, which I didn't know about that. This is the first time I heard about it. I'm like, what? There's radiation in our food? What?
There's like radiation on everything, I think. But the food we consume, that goes into our body and into our cells, that gets broken down and somehow probably affects us more than other things, or just radiation outside of our body, which, like you said, the baking soda bath, you can do that and you can wash yourself off.
I haven't done it. I did that. Did you do anything he said? I did the egg thing.
No, I haven't done anything.
Guys, I will update you on it. It really, the vibration in the house, I totally felt the difference.
Yeah.
If you ask my partner, he's going to say that I'm crazy and he didn't feel any difference. I did. I felt the difference. But throwing the eggs away. So, like, you have to throw it at a crossroads, remember? So you're putting one egg in every corner of your house. You're leaving it there for 7 days. And then you have to go throw it away. Mom had said as far away from the house as possible. I don't think that Frosters and Christos had said that on the episode. But Mom had done a course with them. And she said, yeah, throw it away as far away as you can in the house. And it has to be at a crossroads. And don't look back at it. Just throw the eggs and don't look back at it. so like, Sandra was like, I had to go to Amsterdam. I'm going with you. Oh, but we can't go in the store together because he had to go to some store. And he's like, we're not allowed to walk in the store together because of the quarantine thing. I said, no, I just need to get in the car and get far away. And he's like, what? And I was like, I need to throw the eggs. I just need to throw
what
the
are
eggs.
you doing?
Yeah, I need to throw the eggs. And he's like, what? I was like, yeah, it has to be at a crossroads. Oh, and he's just looking at me because if anybody that knows Sandra knows that he's the grounded, earthy human being, and I'm the, like we talked about before, the woo-woo one, right? And so we get in the car, Aurora's in the back in the car seat sleeping, Sandra's driving, and all of a sudden I bring down the window, I'm like, throwing the eggs. He goes, what are you doing? I was like, I'm throwing the eggs. He's like, right here. And I'm just like throwing him out the window. And there's like cars behind us. I mean, it's Holland. It's packed with people all the time. There's no way I was going to be able to throw it, like, hidden from anybody. And I was like, yeah, this step is the hardest part of the whole thing. Throwing it in front of everybody, not trying to look crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
But okay, so I did it. And the house feels pretty good after, actually.
I can imagine. They know their stuff.
Yeah. But I want to do the baking soda bath. Because I haven't been able to find that amount of baking soda. I've been finding it in small packs.
2 pounds or something?
1 pound. I haven't found it. In the States, you can probably easily find it. But here in Holland...
Just buy bulk.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't found it in more than, like, little tiny packages for, like, baking. And then it was a bottle of apple cider vinegar, which I haven't done yet either.
It's a lot of stuff.
But I'm planning on doing it.
Yeah. I will at one point, too.
I will keep you guys posted. He said something about feeling really warm. I like envision myself jumping out of the bath screaming because it's like hot or something. Like, I'm like, what?
No, I think he said it's really warm at first and you stay in the bath until it cools down, right?
Yeah. So I envision myself jumping up because I feel it getting too warm, like in my mind. But we'll see.
Interesting. Okay, so I think we got off topic again. We keep going on tangents about stuff.
We were talking about... I don't know why I started talking about the eggs, actually. That's weird. We were talking about self-doubt and the soul path and how, all these... Oh, we were talking about, like, healthy stuff like food and how radiation and how people's energy and vibration, and that goes into our system, and that can affect us, too. And then we started talking about, things that Christos and Foster had said, and then the egg thing came up. But
yeah, which is valid as part of us taking care of our energy, like cleaning our house.
That's really important.
It's very
That's
important.
really important. I don't know how often you do it, though, but I clean the house once a week, and I call it I clean and cleanse. Because I clean the house first. I do one room at a time. So I clean one room, I cleanse that house, I close the door. I go to the next room, I clean it, I cleanse that room, I close the door, and until I finish the whole house. So I do it in a day, right? And then after, it just feels, first of all, it smells, the house is clean, it smells good, everything's like in order in its place, so it looks nice to the vision, to see the room. At the same time, it doesn't feel heavy, it all feels just totally cleansed. It's just amazing. I love doing those two things at the same time.
Yeah, that's cool. I've done that a few times. I need to do it more often. I need to do it like at least once a month or something, like he was saying, or every few months or something. I haven't really done it.
The egg thing was once a year.
Yeah, the egg thing I could probably do that now. I have to see about doing that though. We'll see.
My worry was that I have a dog, and she kept trying to get the egg. in one of the corners. And then I have Aurora, who was also very interested in the egg in the corner of the house. So I had to watch the egg for 7 days. The eggs for 7 days. But
yeah. Yeah, just even these little things that you do, it's like, you have to put a little bit of effort into it to take care of your energy and to be able to be more aligned with yourself. But that all contributes to you really getting connected with yourself and feeling more connected with yourself. Like, meditation, I think that's another thing that you lose very religious about that. I'm not so religious. But she does it every single day. She meditates every single night. And all of that gives you clarity to be able to feel more aligned with yourself and make a decision and decide things that you think are right for you, not from your head, but from your heart and from your intuition, right?
Yeah. And you'll know that I had a really good meditation because you'll wake up the next morning from a message from me saying, oh my God, last night I was meditating. I knew we have to do this topic on the podcast.
Yeah. Or you got some message or something.
Or or you got a message of some sort.
So, I mean, it's a way to get clarity for sure. I think it takes out all the noise. It allows everything that's around you to come away and for you to be with yourself and to see how you feel. Because I think we don't give enough space for that a lot of times. Like maybe now with all the quarantine and all the COVID and stuff, like people are more in their houses and more with themselves. And a lot of people are living alone. But even then, sometimes we'll just put on the Netflix, we'll put on YouTube, and we're with ourselves, but we're not really with ourselves.
And that to me is really concerning because that's a way of numbing ourselves. Like I wish, and I'm not saying don't watch Netflix because I mean, Sandra and I were watching Vikings. Like I can't wait. June 5th, Vikings season 6 is coming out. I'm very excited. I'm like counting down the days. But what I'm saying is like, I'm doing those things. I'm enjoying those things, but I'm still giving. After I watch the episode of Vikings, I'll go to bed and I'll meditate before going to sleep.
Yeah.
So
you balance it out.
Yeah. I'm still making sure that I'm doing things for myself. So I think, it's everything in life. It's balance. So
yeah, I wouldn't want to just like meditate all day. Like I want to enjoy other things too.
Oh my God, but there's people that do that, like Ayurveda. It says to meditate like 4 hours a day. And there's people that follow that religiously, probably.
Well, yeah, maybe that's what they need, right? Like, I don't know. But I think for me, I'm more of, I want to enjoy life too. Like, I don't want this to overtake me. And like, I want to watch Netflix. I want to work. We work very hard on the podcast, on all of the things that we do. And that takes time sitting in front of a computer, in front of a screen and using our brain. But then you have to unplug from all of that. And that might be your meditation. It doesn't have to be an hour. It doesn't have to be 4 hours. It could be however long you need it to be.
I actually don't time my meditation. I literally go into it, and sometimes it'll be 45 minutes, 43 minutes. Sometimes I'll just only end up coming out of it 28 minutes in or something. Like, I literally just let myself do what I need that day, feel it through. Sometimes I just get very into it, and my body is just like, okay, let's stay here a while more, and my brain's just still shut off, and I'm having all these experiences, and it's great. But sometimes I'm like, yeah, it's shorter. So like, I think the thing is not to force yourself, but try to keep the balance, right?
Yeah. If 4 hours of meditation feel right for you, by all means, like do it. But, some of us might feel like 4 hours is too much.
Oh my God. I have a child.
Yeah. 4 hours would be too much for me. Like even an hour feels like it would be too much for me. But I think that's where you like that's example, like a perfect example, Lou, of like following your intuition. You don't even time it. You let your body tell you when you're ready to come out of it. And that's balance. Like there's no timers, there's no ego, there's no like, there's nothing external telling you when it's right to stop or not, or to like keep going.
The only time I did put a timer on was when I was training myself to do it, because you would be like, okay, 5 minutes? It's only been 5 minutes? So, like, I had to, like, put the timer and say, okay, I'm not going to stop till I get to 10 minutes. And then I made it to 15, and then to 20, and then 25. So, like, you kind of have to allow yourself to...
You train yourself.
You have to push yourself and train yourself a little bit in the beginning. And then after, when I finally felt like, okay, I'm kind of getting it now. I'm getting into the groove of it. I'm learning how to do it, and I'm getting better at it. Now I'm going to just let myself do it.
Yeah. So you don't have that doubt with, like, oh, I don't trust myself to like only do it for 5 minutes. Like I know my body's used to it. I'm just going to let myself feel it.
Like last night I ended up deciding, and I'll just see what I want that day. So last night I ended up deciding I laid down to meditate, and I put crystal on my third eye. I did a meditation where I put one on my third eye and my crown chakra, and then I moved it down to my heart and my sacral chakra. And so I had only 2 crystals, so I was shifting them after a few moments of time. Like, okay, I'm done with those sections. I'm going to go to the next one. But I had nothing planned. I was literally just taking the crystal where I felt like it needed to be, and I was sending energies to those areas with the crystal on it and letting the crystal work with me. And I didn't read that in a book. I kind of mixed meditating with crystal healing and whatever. So like, I was just, listening to myself. So I think that's where we all need to get at some point. We need to learn to listen to ourselves and study and learn things and then adapt it to the ways it's best for us. Like, I hate this whole, like, overly following rules thing. Like, rules are set for something. That's good. I think that rules are important. But I think that we need to learn to sometimes be flexible with rules and listen to ourselves, because not everything's the same for everybody, you know?
Oh, for sure. We need to adapt it to our lifestyle, to what's balanced for us, and to what feels right for us, because everyone's different. We're not here to do the same thing, and we're not all here with the same amount of time, to dedicate to specific practices. So, but that also comes with you having confidence in yourself to make the right decisions for you. Like, when you feel so in tune with yourself that you can intuitively say, well, 30 minutes of meditation feels right. And I feel like, I can notice the difference. I can feel the difference. And then you don't doubt yourself. It's like, well, everyone's doing an hour. Like 30 minutes isn't enough. You know what I mean? That's where the doubt can come and kind of screw over any type of progress you've made. And it's like, that washes over you. And then all of a sudden, nothing's good enough anymore. And that's what we need to pull away from.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Look inward and figure out what is right for you.
That's a good example of how something positive can turn into doubt and then turn into something negative, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
All right. Well, we would go on a few tangents, but I think that we discussed basically everything that we wanted to talk about. I hope that most people find it some sort of, helps them align. Yeah, some sort of inspiration helps them like align themselves better and listen to themselves more and just believe in themselves and make yourself your own master. Start training yourself to receive your own answers. Maybe for you that's tarot. Maybe for you that's crystals. Maybe for you that's meditating. Maybe for you that's writing. Maybe for you that's being intuitive, becoming a reader, whatever it is. But allow yourself to become more powerful so that you can be more the person you need for yourself, and you have to go less outside externally to find it. That's what I think we should all be doing.
Yeah, when we say like look outside externally, it's like asking people their opinion or, asking people what you should do or how what they think about you, or just getting validated by things that are external to you. Like, we can validate ourselves. We have that power. And, that doesn't mean, like Lucia said before, like, that doesn't mean you're not going to go get a reading by someone. That doesn't mean you're never going to go ask a friend for their opinion or ask them, like, what they think of something, because you do genuinely, regard their opinion and think that they have some great insight and that they could help you. It's just coming from a place where you're not in self-doubt. If you're in a place of alignment with yourself, you can go to that other person, ask for their opinion, understand it, and then be able to make the decision right for yourself, not for anybody else. Not let
I know what it is. I was thinking about it. I know what it is that I like about getting a reading, because I can read myself, obviously. What I like is hearing it said in somebody else's words. Sometimes that creates a more impactful aha for me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like, they're saying the same thing that I already knew. It's just somehow they're saying it in a way that I go, wow, yeah, I just needed to hear it.
That's true.
I needed to hear it that way. I don't know why, but okay, thank you. Like,
it's so true, though. Yeah.
It's weird, but that's the way it works.
I've never thought of it that way, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, we hope this all kind of makes sense. I know we, like Lucia said, we went on a few tangents, but even my beginning story, which I don't know why you mentioned that, Lucia, but cool. Just know I was not arrested, nothing happened, and we were let loose, and then we went to the beach in the afternoon. So, we hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We really are trying to just do different types of topics where kind of just opens up your mind to see things in a different way and see yourself in a different way and realize that you have the power to change things and you have the power to really connect with yourself. We all have that power, and we truly believe that. And that's also why we teach the Akashic Records to people, because everyone has that. It's only your self-doubt and the lack of trust in yourself that's holding you back. And we're going to do a whole episode on that, I think, later on, because it's super interesting. But yeah, make sure you're following us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle's @soul_tribe_podcast. And feel free to share this episode with anybody that you think might be interested. And if you feel called to leave a rating and review on iTunes, we would greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you guys all next week. Bye, guys.
Thank you.